Okay, so if you are here, it's very likely that you were attracted to the whole subject of how do we build confidence? How do we build confidence so that we could communicate more effectively with other people? That could include your business life, your professional life. It could be leadership. It could be sales. It could be that you want to meet the person of your dreams in a more romantic, personal relationship. And so everything I've been doing for the last 35 years is all around the subject of communicating with effectiveness, with clarity, with impact from the inside out. And why I say from the inside out is quite important, because when I started doing coaching many years ago, I used to focus on sales training, and whether it would be financial advisors, realtors, network marketers, just salespeople, small business people who knew that it was very important how they present, how they listen, how they inspire people to take action. Some people call it closing skills. I don't like the word. So I started to do sales training, and I found that it had some impact on people. But within a relatively short time, I realized that there were some things missing in my training, that people were benefiting, but not as much as I thought they could be. And then the light bulb went on. And here's why. Every person I would meet during my entire career in this industry, anybody that's ever come to me, whether it's one-to-one in person or on Zoom like we are now, I would say to them, I'm pretty confident that I could help you communicate more effectively. But before we do that, I need to get a better idea of where you're at in your life, where are your strengths, where are your weaknesses. And so I would ask them, and we're going to do this little exercise together in about 10 or 15 minutes. I would ask them to rate themselves 0 to 100%, 0 low, 100% high, on about 25 categories. And it was very revealing because a lot of these people had told me they had already invested a lot of time and money in personal development and professional development and so on. Yet, after all that time, all that investment, many of them were still either procrastinators. Any procrastinators here, or do you want to wait before you put up your hand? Either procrastinators, fear, insecurity, stress, anxiety, lack of confidence, social anxiety, especially pervasive today, and not funnily enough, but in the last 6 months, I've never read so many articles as I have recently that one of the growing problems in the world is loneliness, which is amazing. Because you think with social media, we'd be a lot more connected. But in fact, a lot of people are disconnected more than ever. And in reality, what I've discovered, and I'm going to share with you the insights that I've developed over the last 35 years, is that most of it comes from the inside out. Most of what's holding people back is not only they're disconnected with other people because they're primarily disconnected with themselves in some significant ways. So basically, when I was 13, my mother was diagnosed with cancer. She was told she had 6 months to live. She lived for about 15 years. And my mother was my first role model of the power of the human spirit. When I was 19, my father died. I was taking a bachelor in psychology at Concordia University. And although I knew I wanted to help people and eventually do seminars and public speaking, I didn't know how it would shake down. I took a year and traveled the world, went from country to country, city to city, country to country. And I kept going to these new places and say, wow, very cool. Is that all there is? Very cool. Is that all there is? And then at one point, I had probably one of my most life-changing experiences where I came very close to dying on the desert one day. And it freaked me out. And when I came back to Montreal, I began to be more open to personal development, communication skill development, professional development. And I met these two people in a bookstore that were living, their eyes were calm and clear and centered. And they were living at what was called a Zen meditation center in Montreal. And they invited me there, and there were 40 people there, all with calm, clear eyes. And I looked at that and I said, I want that. I moved in and I became a Zen monk for 9 years until I missed women too much. And then I left the monastery. And so usually people smile when I say that. When I came back into society, I realized that if you want to get into that calm, clear state of mind and overcome stress and anxiety and panic attacks, like I was telling David that I had when I was younger, if you want to get calm, clear, centered, yes, meditation and things like meditation could help. But unless you connect that to every other part of our life, it's going to be limited. And that led me to going back to get a master's degree in counseling psychology. And my thesis was the quality of relationships with other people are founded on the quality of relationship you have with yourself. And I realized 20% had to do with technique, with the words we use, but 80% oozes out of our inside. In other words, if I'm emotionally and psychologically not always in top shape, if I've got too much fear, if I've got too much anxiety, if I've got too much anger, resentment, frustration, that's going to come through and affect our actions, and it's going to affect our communication, ergo, dysfunctional relationships, which abound in our world. And I was very committed to trying first for myself to solve the problem of dysfunctional relationships. I wanted to learn and then eventually teach people how could they speed up the process. So instead of spending thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on training for 10 years, how can they get into the inner fitness gymnasium, do some workout techniques and tools, and speed up the process of getting calm, getting content, getting clear, getting centered, becoming highly aware, becoming focused, confident, and ultimately communicate with maximum clarity, confidence, and impact. And that's what I've done over the last 35 years. I'm not saying this to promote I'm so wonderful a guy. I just wanted to give you the context of what we're going to talk about tonight. Does that make sense? Any questions at all? Was that clear? I figured I better, if I'm teaching it, I better be walking the talk. Okay, so what we're going to do, I'm going to share my screen. We'll use a couple of slides to help you. So, can someone tell me whether they could see these slides?
Yeah, sure.
What do you see exactly?
Yeah, I see. Okay, your photo. Is that you? Yeah. Okay, let's introduce. Okay, transform fear to insecurity in full life. Yeah.
Beautiful. You got the right one.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, so let me just move this here. Okay, this will help it become a bit more clear as we go along. So, okay, so communication skills, as I see it, are some of the most important. By the way, if you haven't put your mute on button, please put the mute on button if you don't mind. I think Hisham, yeah, thanks so much. Communication skills, as I see it, are some of the most important assets we need in today's world to be more and more successful, both in our personal and our professional life. I like to ask people where they're coming from. If I had a talk with each one of you, what holds you back? You know, is it the prospect of speaking in front of a group terrifies you like GI? Does that terrify you? The chaos in the world scaring us with the world condition the way it is. A lot of people are very stressed out, and rightly so. Asking someone you're attracted to on a date, you're perhaps from another country and you want to fit in with the locals. You might be overly preoccupied with what others think, some of the caregivers and people pleaser type, which I was most of my life. You might cringe at the prospect of asking for a sale because you're afraid of rejection, or you're afraid you don't want to come across too salesy. Or going to a social event is like going to a dentist, especially people who suffer from social anxiety. And you tend maybe to hold things inside for fear of being rejected. These are only some of many things that some of you might relate to. Now, I want to make it clear that everything I'm going to share with you tonight is not coming from intellectual understanding. It comes from my own personal experience. When I in my younger days, my brother is 4.5 years older than me, and I lived in his shadow. He was number one in his medical class, great athlete, good looking, popular, and I was popular, but I certainly didn't live up to what he was like, at least in my own eyes. And so for several years, many years, I was suffered from insecurity and fear. And every time I'd go on a date, for example, I always felt that I had to prove myself and lift myself up. And I spent many years in anxiety over that. So there was a lot of comparison to my brother. Then I have my life-changing experience at 21. About 15 years ago, I was diagnosed with Parkinson's, even though when people meet me, they don't even notice I have it. And I have a feeling the work that I do inside myself has helped me along the path. But the point I'm trying to make is that I can relate to whatever suffering or pain or discomfort you go through in your own life as it relates to relationships and confidence. So after years of personal development, and many people who come to me, as I said, have been into personal development, they've gone to the rah-rah seminars, they might have had years of life coaching, yet after all of this time, there's still significant things holding them back that keep them from really releasing their full potential. And I think by the time that this session ends, you'll get an idea of what I've come up with, which is, I believe, one of the most simple, practical, and comprehensive systems that if you go through, will help you get to a high level of inner peace and communication mastery a lot faster than you think. Now, do you all have pen and paper? If you do, put up your hand, so so yes. If you do, David, Hisham, you have pen and paper?
Yes, I do.
Nicole? Okay, we're going to do this exercise very, very quickly. I am going to read off a category, and you're going to write down the percent rating yourself 0 to 100%. 0 the lowest, 100% higher, or anywhere in between. In other words, if it's quite low, it might be 20, 30%, medium, 50 to 60%, high, 85 plus. And what I want you to do is rate yourself on how you feel about yourself in the last 60 to 90 days, not because you had a bad day yesterday. So what I'd prefer you do is write the word out, physical health, write it out because I want you to be able to reconnect back to it. So write down physical health, and then to the right of that, put your number. The first number that jumps into your mind, write it down immediately. Doesn't have to be so accurate. Don't worry about that. And as soon as I'm going to go slowly or relatively slowly, but if I go too fast, stop me, okay? Ready to go? Physical health. Rate yourself 0 to 100% on your physical health overall. Inner peace. How much ongoing inner peace do you experience in your life? 0 to 100%. Next, managing your time. How effective you are at managing your time. 0 to 100%. Next, how self-confident are you overall? How much self-confidence do you have overall? 0 to 100. Next, how assertive you are. How courageous are you when you communicate someone, being direct, honest, and speak your truth? How assertive are you? Your overall self-esteem. How comfortable, how much do you accept and like yourself, feel good in your own skin, as opposed to being very self-critical? How much self-esteem do you have? Vision. How clear are you in terms of where you're going, your direction, your goals, your purpose, whatever it be, as it relates to vision? 0 to 100%. How effective are your listening skills? How attentive are you and able to listen and respond effectively? 0 to 100%. How much joy and passion do you have in your life? How much joy and passion do you have in your life? How determined are you? That means how mentally tough are you? How determined are you to live the kind of life you increasingly want to live and are willing to do what it takes? 0 to 100%. How patient are you? How patient are you? On the right side, more of the communication skills, your conversational skills, your ability to converse effectively with others, 0 to 100%. Next, closing skills, your ability to inspire people to take action, closing skills. Next, public speaking skills, your ability to speak, whether it's on stage, here on Zoom, overall public speaking skills. The quality of your close friendships, marketing strategies for your business. If that's not relevant to you, just leave it out. Marketing strategies for your business. Next, how calm your mind is as opposed to hyperactive, too much thinking. Social responsibility, 0 to 100%, how much you make a difference in the world around you. Your level of financial fitness, financial health, 0 to 100%. The last 3, your ability to networking skills, 0 to 100%. Quality of your intimate relationship. If you're in a relationship, intimate relationship, what percent would you give it? If you're not, what was your last relationship you had? How would you rate it? 0 to 100%. And the last one, how much fun, recreation, and leisure time do you enjoy? Everyone on track there? Good. Okay, now what I'd like you to do is circle the lowest 7 numbers you have. Circle the lowest 7 numbers you have. And then put up your hand when you're finished. David, you're finished? David, could you, okay, so now what I'd like to do, and David, if you can open up your mic for a second, if you could take out another paper and draw 2 lines down the middle, so there are 3 columns on the page.
Okay.
On the top left column, put the letter M as in Mark. The middle column, A for Alan. And top right corner, C for Charles. MAC. So David, I'm going to do this with you, and then everyone could follow with their own numbers. I want you slowly to read off one of your 7 lowest numbers in not a particular order. Give me
Okay.
one, then I'm going to tell you which column to put it under, and we'll keep going, and then everyone will probably get a sense of where to put theirs.
Okay, 1 second. I'm just putting in one more because I'm typing because I don't. It turned out the piece of paper I had writing on it.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah. So I just want to do 2 things. Okay, I'm almost ready. So what were the 3 letters that I had to do?
M-A-C. Do you want me to do this with someone else?
Oh no, I'm on it right
Okay.
now.
M-A-C.
N
M-A-C.
A C. Okay, I'm all caught up.
So tell me one of your one of the categories of the 7.
Inner peace.
Put that under M. M is for motivation, mindset, mastery, inner power. So anything related to you will go under M. So inner peace under M. Next.
Management of time.
Under A for action and accountability. Put that under A. Next.
Okay, second.
What's that?
Second, please. I'm typing as fast as I can.
Okay.
The next one is vision.
Put under M. Vision goes under M. Next.
Okay. 1 second, please. The next one is financial health.
Under M.
Also under N? Okay.
Yeah. Next.
Financial health, sorry. The next one is, well, I had a whole bunch at 40.
That's okay. Just read a bunch of them off.
Okay. So listening skills.
Put that under M.
Okay, 1 second.
Oh, actually, no, put that under C for communication. C is for
Okay.
communication. So put that under C.
Okay.
Next.
The next one is quality of friendships.
C.
Okay. 1 second, please. Oh dear. Quality friendship. Thank you. And the next one that was 40 was marketing yourself.
Okay, put that under C. And how many ticks do you have now? 6 or 7?
That is the last one.
Okay, good. So now, thank you, David. I'm opening it up to anyone else who's not sure where to put a particular category in which column. So I'm opening it up to any of you that are not clear. Anybody at all? Yeah.
Sorry, I just put the score and that's it. So do we need to put any other things to under each category, or we need to calculate something? Because I only put the percentage.
Do you remember which percent is related to which subject?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the lowest 7 you have, was there anything that anything that you hadn't heard when I did it with David? Is there anything you're not clear about?
I thought David is taking the test and he is trying to calculate himself. So
No, that's not what I mean, Hasham. Of the 7 of your lowest number, give me an example of what category one of the 7 is.
yeah, now I listed this 7. Okay, the 7 you have the least ones, and I put them here. I put check mark on each one.
Okay, I'll tell you what, Hasham, can I suggest this for the sake of time? I will later when we chat, I'll help you through this. It's just that because of time, I want to make sure that we get through all the information. So just observe what we're doing and you'll be able to figure it out. Okay, a little bit later?
Sure.
Okay, anybody else have ones that they're not sure where to put? So anything conversational, closing skills, public speaking, quality of friendships, marketing strategies, networking skills, intimate relationships, all go under C. Action, time management goes under A. And anything else pretty well goes under M. Physical health, inner peace, self-confidence. Is that clear, everyone? So it's M, A, C. Now, I want to explain why this is so important. Can you see this map where it says dream lifestyle up there? You can see? Okay. So all of us would like to live increasingly our desired lifestyle. And most of us want a lot of the same things: inner peace, great relationships, financial success, fun, leisure, and the list goes on. In order to speed ahead toward living that desired lifestyle, we need to communicate with people every day, as I said, both in business and both personally. Now, over the years as a communication coach, I've learned that 20% might have to do with the words we use. 80% oozes out from the inside. So let's talk about the inside. So in the inside, we have emotions, we have a rational thinking mind, and we have physical body that takes actions. I put the Zen zone here because I just wanted to reiterate that behind the emotions, behind the mind, behind the physicality, when I became a Zen monk, why did I do that? Because I was filled with anxiety and stress and anger, and I was projecting into my other relationships, and I wanted to overcome that. So I wanted to get into what I call the Zen zone. I don't get into religions. That's a very personal thing. I'm just talking about a calm, clear mind, for example, that comes from meditation. Everyone could sort of relate to that. So the more we tap in to that calm, clear mind, we have intuition, we have awareness, we have clarity, then we could navigate our life more easily. But many of us, the Zen zone, the clarity of mind, is clouded by emotional reaction, emotional turbulence, emotional issues, whether it's sadness, depression, anger, resentment, frustration. A lot of these emotions fluctuate, and if they're negative emotions, that's going to connect also to the mind. Our mind, it could either be too hyperactive, we think too much, or we have negative thinking. So if we have too much negative thinking and emotional turbulence, that's going to cloud everything here and will cause us to lack the ability to be in the Zen zone where we feel content, we feel clear, we feel joyful, we feel happy, and now we could go out and have much better relationships with other people. On a physical level, if emotionally and psychologically we're off track, then on a physical level, we could go to one extreme and become a procrastinator and not take action, or the opposite, we become compulsive and we become obsessive in our actions. So if that happens, all of this clouds the Zen zone, and then we wonder why the world is filled with dysfunctional relationships, one-to-one relationships, dysfunctional family relationships, dysfunctional countries, dysfunctional any kind of interaction, one-to-one or to group. So it became clear to me at some point that if we can actually learn to have a great relationship with ourselves first, if we could learn to accept, respect, and love ourselves unconditionally as a foundation to all our relationships, we can then have much better relationships with other people. So when we look at your numbers and the 7 number, David, if we go through your numbers again, okay? I want you to go back here for a second. If all of you look at all the numbers you put down, and I'll use David's as an example. David, if you look at your overall numbers, would you say that there's a bunch of them that are a lot lower than you'd like it to be?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay.
I'm just looking, I have a couple that are in the 90s and 80s, but a lot of them are lower.
Okay. So in general, if you look at the whole picture, none of us are perfect, but obviously if overall we're 80 plus or 90 plus in most of them, then we're going to be living pretty decent lifestyle. If we have 3 or 4 or 5 low numbers or pretty average numbers, it's going to impact us. So it's almost like if you got up tomorrow morning and looked at your phone and your phone was working at 40% its capacity, how quickly would it take you to call the cell phone company? Probably fairly quickly. So whether it's a cell phone, laptop, vehicle, we tend to we got David, you have to put on the mute again. Sorry, David.
Sorry.
You would immediately call the cell phone company, get your laptop fixed, get the vehicle fixed. But very few of us look in the mirror and we say, oh my God, I'm working on a 20, 30, 40% of my personal potential. I got to get some help. I got to call Alan. I got to call someone. It could be anybody that could help you to get the numbers up. But we don't do that because we put ourselves on the back burner. And one of the things when people ask me, Alan, what is the number one reason? What is the number? There are probably many things that people experience difficulty with, but what's the number one issue that I see in most people over the years of doing the work that I do? I would say the number one is most people are way too hard on themselves and too self-critical. And that's the cancer right there. And that's why when I set out to develop a system to transform that, I wanted to make sure that if I'm going to teach people how to communicate effectively and build wonderful relationships, it was going to have to be from the inside out. Now, the question I would ask to David, you don't have to answer, but any of you, is if you look at all your numbers, and let's pretend that I meet you in 1 year and your numbers stay exactly the same. The question would be, how do you feel about that? How successful and happy and content would you likely be? Then my next question would be, let's say I had a magic wand and put it on your forehead, and magically you were 90% plus on every area. What would your life be like? And most of us would say, I'd be probably earning a lot more money. I'd be a lot more successful in my business. I would have a lot more fulfilling relationships. I would be healthier, happier, more joyous, and the list goes on. So that's the key. So the question I always like to ask myself is the word fed up comes to mind. What I've learned over the years is many of us intellectually know all these things, but we're not sufficiently fed up with the mediocrity. And it sometimes takes being fed up to turn it around. So the last part of this, I'm going to show you quite quickly through the 9 steps that I've developed, which is the strategy to turn all this around. And what I tell my clients, all my clients that I work with one-to-one or in groups or whatever I do, is that if you actually go through these steps within 90 to 120 days, you get to quite a high level of inner peace, inner contentment, self-confidence, mental toughness, and you begin to release your charisma and passion and enthusiasm into all of your communication. So, any questions before we move on to the 9 steps? I'm going to share the 9 steps. I need at least one question. For one thing, I've been talking too long. I need someone to ask me at least one question so I can take a break. Can't hear.
Oh,
Go ahead, David.
okay. So I was thinking, like, when you have someone, like, what do you think is involved with someone who is older, meaning they're more set in their ways? Like someone who's in their 20s or 30s might be like, okay, I want to make a change. But what about someone who is in older years? Like, so they've obviously been living a certain way for a long, long time. Like, how do you approach those differently, or what needs to be done differently if something's ingrained?
I think it's my personal opinion. There might be a whole lot of people that are senior citizens that are stuck in their way. That's their choice. But I don't believe there's a difference. As a matter of fact, my experience has been the opposite. The older I get, the older people that I know get to a place where they think, oh my God, I haven't lived my dreams. Some people get out of a marriage and they've been married for 25 years and someone passed away, or they might separate, or whatever the case might be. And now they're left alone and their kids are not there. What an opportunity to look inside and to change one's life. I don't think it's a matter of time. I see it's a matter of quality. If I know that I'm only going to live another 5 years in my life, what interests me, I'd rather live 5 amazing years than 10 years living with anxiety, stress, panic attacks, lack of confidence. It's the quality of the life. And I don't think it has anything to do with age. As a matter of fact, a lot of young people that I meet are not even open to changing and growing. They're happy with the way they are. So I don't think it's an issue, at least in my case, David. I don't find it to be an issue. Any other questions at all?
Yeah, Ellen, my question is about the new immigrant, okay, to Canada, and how they can improve, okay, the because one of the things that I think one we missed here, for me at least, um, the the cultural changes, and the inclusion. So to be part of the society or the community as a newcomer, we have two things as barrier. Okay, the language, the native language, that we need to be improved, and the second one is how to be, more inclusive in the society that you already, newly arrived to. So we need to have sort of combination between these two to be okay, part of the communication, let me say communication skills, or to be more powerful person,
Okay.
that you can at least, okay, be part of the community.
Got it. It's a very excellent question. And here's my response to that. We all, not one of us don't have this. We all have challenges in our life, no matter whether we're a Canadian who was born here or we were born from other countries, wherever we are, we all have personal challenges. There are people that are going to wake up tomorrow who were in an accident, God forbid, today, and wake up and they can't walk anymore. That's a big challenge. There is no question that for, let's say, an immigrant who goes to a country, whether it's Canada or another country, there is a period of adaptation. But here's what I found, Hisham. There are many people, I've lived for many years in Canada, in Montreal and Vancouver, and there are many Canadians who have never raised the bar in their confidence. They're insecure, they blame others, they never worked on themselves, they have social problems. So whether someone's a Canadian or a non-Canadian, there are all kinds of problems. Here's the key. It always goes back to yourself. There was an Iranian lady that I knew well, went through my program many years ago. She was from Iran and had a very significant accent. And she was in a telemarketing room with 100 people. She was the top telemarketer for 2 years, even though when you speak with her, you could hardly tell that she speaks proper English. And I used to say, what is unique about this woman? It was her personality, her love, and her confidence. And the confidence oozed out from her, and it cut through the language barrier. So whether you are from another country, whether you're from a childhood that was a very dysfunctional childhood with mother or father that were not very supportive, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, we need to stop and say to ourselves, you know what? I could live and blame others, blame this one, blame that one for my lack of happiness and fulfillment in my life, or I could finally say, I have so many years to live. I'm going to live it beautifully, amazingly, and I'm going to do whatever it takes. And if it takes me working on myself and my relationship building skills, then so be it. I'm going to do that. So my quick answer to you, Hisham, is it won't, if you release your full power, you sound like a wonderful guy already. The more you are personable, the more you walk around in joy, in love, in nice personality, people will resonate you and fall in love with you. That's guaranteed. Good questions. I got to move on because I want to make sure. Thank you so much. Okay, if there's any other questions, by the way, you can we're going to leave my email address at the end. You could contact me, write me questions, call me, whatever you want. Okay, we're going to take the last 15 minutes or so and go through the 9 steps so that you see what the 9 steps are, why they're created, and how it could help you fast track your ability to achieve all of this. Number 1, we've already done a little bit. The first step is to have the courage to say, okay, whatever is going on in my life around me, I'm going to take stock of my life. I'm going to have the courage to look inside. And so when people go through my program, whether it's one-to-one or a group, they have a bit more comprehensive assessment, and you rate yourself and you get clear on what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are. And as you go through the process, every month, I ask people to redo their numbers, and then you could see your numbers increase. So it's a practical way of you monitoring your growth. Next, number 2. Most of us, the issues that hold us back, the fears, the anxieties, the emotional, psychological crap usually comes from when we're small. We were brought up, our parents did the best they can, they loved us, some were more effective than others, but in reality, whether it's a family, school, we're influenced in positive and negative ways. So a lot of us have some what I call sort of unresolved emotional, psychological issues that cause toxicity in our relationships, in our communication. So we have what's called a zap the past exercise. For example, if you're someone who still has grudges, anger, resentment toward others, then we have a zap the past exercise to neutralize this. Now, when I talk about forgiveness, please understand, we might blame others. Others are terrible people, terrible person in our life. They might have done or said terrible things. We're not saying to like them. But if we allow ourselves to have the poison of resentment inside us, that's going to affect our life. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to let them and what they've done to me get in the way of my own happiness and success in life. So we have a zap the past exercise to let go that resentment toward others. Then that's 2A. 2B, even if you have eliminated that to a great degree, most of us, as I said before, are still overly hard on ourselves, too self-critical. So we have a zap the past exercise, which helps neutralize that. Then once we've done that, we feel a sense of relief. Oh, it's like when you have a communication with someone, you get something off your chest, you feel, I feel relaxed, I feel good. More stress-free. I think some of you are smiling, so you know what I'm talking about. Now, we want to replace that negativity with positivity in 3, 4, and 5. 3, now we're ready to step forward and look at who we are. What do we want to do in life? What is our purpose in life? What's our vision? What's our direction? What's our goals? And we have an exercise, an impact visioning process that becomes part of your daily routine to meditate on your desired lifestyle with an attitude, an inner warrioress attitude that says, nobody, nothing is going to get me off track than living my desired lifestyle. So 1, 2, and 3, easy peasy. Now that more difficult start. Number 4, in order to propel ourselves toward that desired lifestyle, we need to come from the inside. The inside is critical. That's why the inner power, building our inner muscles, just like physical fitness, getting in the gymnasium, we got to get in the inner gymnasium and work out. So we have a variety of exercises. One of them is to calm the mind down so that you tap into the Zen zone. Some other exercises help you to reprogram your negative thinking into positive with a 3-part system. So for example, let's say I was growing up, I always believed I was inferior to my brother. So my attitude when I wanted to go out and date or ask a girl on a date, my mindset was she won't like me. She's not going to be attracted to me. So in my mind, I said to myself, like programming, I am not attractive. I am not appealing. Guess what? When I went to a dance, took 2 hours finally to walk up to someone I was attracted to. And finally, my knees were shaking. I say, you wouldn't want to dance with me, would you? And they said, no. And I walked away. And what did I say to myself? You idiot. Why did you say that? Never again. And I might spend the rest of my life with negative thinking, troubling emotions, fluctuating emotions, and not living and getting what I want out of life. So it's very important to channel the negative mind into positive and channel the negative emotions. Emotions are often left out into positive. And when we do these variety of inner fitness exercise, we increasingly feel great on the inside. And we walk into a room, people can look in our eyes, they see the glow in our eyes. They see confidence. They see the tone of voice sounds more confident and authoritative in a good way. So number 4 is inner fitness, but it doesn't stop there. We need now to take it outside. Outside meaning we got to build up a lifestyle, action. Inner fitness is 4, 5 is outer fitness, building up our lifestyle, which requires action. That's where time management comes in. That's where prioritization comes in. So we have an action and accountability system that if you use, you very quickly learn to get on track and stay on track. Overcoming procrastination, prioritization exercise. A lot of us do a lot, but we do things that are not truly effective. We're spending a lot of time on things that we could put off to down the road. Where we really need to do is do the immediate things. And then we also include how to have a success partner to support you as you get more and more effective in your time management. So 4 is inner power, 5 is outer power. 4, 5. 4, 5 represents your personal power. Now my favorite one is busting through the barriers. No matter how good we feel, no matter what actions we take in our life, we are going to have, I call them the obstacles and challenges will come our way, whether we like them or not. They could be small, like you in Vancouver, you're enjoying a nice day, and then 2 hours later it's pouring rain. That's a small challenge. Somebody steals $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 from you, maybe a medium challenge. A dear person in your life gets 4-stage cancer, that's a major challenge. So whatever obstacles and challenges you may face in your life, I welcome them. Because if they come, it's not going to feel good. Because we're too used to thinking, positive thinking, positive thinking, positive. Positive thinking is good. But there's also the reality of things that are not so fun, and we need to deal with those too. So when you get the obstacles come your way, often they feel you're frustrated, you're angry, you're scared, you got anxiety, rushes through your system. The key is not do you experience those, but what do you do with them? if you hold on to the negativity, if you hold on to resentment, if you hold on to anger, if you hold on to fears, etc., then that is going to cause you to stay, you're not going to be able to build up your self-mastery beyond a certain point. But if you learn how to feel it, express it in a healthy way to yourself or to another person, and then get back in the zone, back on track, back on the superhighway of life. Don't let, when one of my dear soulmate sisters passed away in Vancouver many years ago. And so I was in a state of mourning, like it's a normal thing. But at some point I picked myself up and I said, you know what? I am now going to dedicate the rest of my life to come up and develop my training program in honor of her. And I may not have accomplished wonderful things in my life, but I made a decision and I prayed for her, wished her well, and I got back in the zone. I didn't want to be a victim of it for a long time. There's a normal process of mourning, of course, someone dies. But whether it's a big challenge or a small challenge, the goal is to, as quickly as possible, pick ourselves up by the bootstraps, and in there, pick ourselves by the bootstraps, get back in the zone, back in the zone, back in the zone. So Hisham, for example, when you meet people that are new to you, it might be challenging, but you might get frustrated. Say, okay, I'm frustrated, but I'm going to work on myself and I'm going to work on my communication skills, and I'm going to become a popular guy, and I'm going to have a lot of impact, and I'm going to use, as a matter of fact, more immigrants, and I think some of you will back me up, more immigrants appreciate what we have in Canada than non-immigrants, people who were brought here. Many of them do. And I admire them and respect them very much for that. So that's number 6. Number 7, we often hear the word manifest. How do I more quickly manifest and attract things into my life? Well, I call number 7 the true power to manifest. Because often in the personal development language, they say positive thinking, think positively. Well, that's nice. And number 4, we learn how to think positively. But in reality, there are certain things that are more subtle. I remember before I moved from Vancouver, I was walking down the street one day thinking pretty good about myself and where I'm at in my life. And all of a sudden I noticed for 15 or 20 minutes, I was judging everybody I saw on the street. Look at what they're wearing. Look at that person. Oh, that homeless person there. Look at that poodle, that pompous person. And I was, in my own mind, very subtly judging. So in step number 7, we teach a little bit more advanced motivational techniques, which eliminate some of the more subtle negativity in our mind. And we start to tap into a real state of grace, harmony, synchronicity, the power of magnetic attraction. When you get to number 7, numbers 1 to 7, and you really get to becoming your own best friend, that joy, that vibe radiates out into the world. And I get comments all the time, Alan, we love your vibe. Well, I appreciate it, but I've done a work to get there. But that's what it is. The vibe comes out, and that vibe alone will impact a lot of your communication. But of course, the communication, now that we've covered 1 to 7, now we're ready to focus more on the specific content, skills, communication skills that will help you. Let's say you want to become a master public speaker. Let's say you're in sales and want to increase your sales performance. Let's say you're a leader and you want to become a better leader. You want to attract the soulmate of your dreams. All these things we teach people: communication skills, networking skills, how to break the ice, how to effectively listen, how to understand different personality types. Because if I sit down with one person and I observe that they're timid and shy, I am going to deal with them a little differently than this person over here that's sad and lonely, or this person here who's Mr. or Mrs. Macho. or this person over here that's scatterbrained, and I have to keep things on track. So we teach you a whole variety of communication skills that you could use so that you can navigate all your relationships and become just like a skilled dancer on the dance floor. You're dancing in all your relationships and communication. That's where and because of the first 7 steps, now you're combining the vibe that you get in the personal development and the relationship with yourself. Now we're talking about communicating with others at a higher level. Now you've got the whole package. And for many years, I would spend a lot of money and go to this course and that. And I benefited from all the courses. I'm not criticizing in the way, but a lot of people go to one. This changed my life. Maybe this is the answer. Maybe this is the answer. That is why I wanted to put together a system that combines an inner multiple vitamin that covers all the bases. And finally, once you work on yourself and your communication, now you want to probably, out of compassion, make a difference in the world. So we teach you how to get into what we call legacy circles, how to have mastermind groups so that you support each other and help each other to make a difference in the world. Those are the 9 steps. So in the last 5 minutes, I'll just close with a few things, but does anybody have any question about the 9 steps? Now, you being here tonight, listen, I do this every 2 weeks. I love it. If 1 person comes, I love it. If 20 people come, I love it. If you never do anything with me personally, if I've made an impact on it tonight, I'm grateful. If you feel you want to follow up, if you feel that this resonates with you and you could use some help, all you have to do is connect with my calendar, which will leave. Mike, are you putting the calendar on the chat?
Yeah,
That would be
I
great.
just did.
Yeah, if you want to reach out to me and set up an appointment, there's no obligation. If this resonated with you, you want to talk about where you could take this, whether you're interested in one-to-one intensive coaching or group coaching, just feel free to contact me. And if you have any questions, my email is allan@allanknight.com. You can always email me as well. So the benefits of the program, if you choose to do any work with me, it's very practical and result oriented. It's complete and duplicatable so that when you go through it, once you learn the system, if you get off track, you know exactly what to do to get back on track. Maintenance and follow-up, people will end up saving thousands of dollars because a lot of people go program to program to program to program. I'm not putting down a lot of programs, but once you get to this level, you don't need as much help as you did before, and you become your own coach. So that's my presentation. So I will kind of get it back here. I will stop sharing and bring it back to the group. Any final questions? I would appreciate at least one question. So I feel that what I shared with you tonight had a little impact. Any questions at all from anybody aside from Hisham?
I just wanted to say it felt quite empowering and exciting.
Thank you, David. What did you like about it?
I like how you broke it down into steps. It's inspiring. I have to see if I can sign up. I don't know if I can, but I was inspired.
Don't worry about whether you can or not. Any of you that felt that you got a lot out of tonight and you want to set up a meeting with me, don't worry about that part of it. There's different options. I make it very easy for people. Set up a call. We'll do a one-to-one, and then we'll take it from there and see if there's a fit. But thank you so much for that. Gia, did you have a question?
Thank you, Alan. I don't have any question. Everything you teach today is really valuable. I think I understand all of them. My problem is I need to let them knowledge and the learning to transfer get out, share with more people, so I can impact more people to get out the situation. Is everything come in your mind inside? What do you think you become? So they're very important.
What, thank you for the feedback. Are you
Yeah.
saying that what you need to do is overcome some of those inner things so that you can communicate?
Learning English. I understand lots of stuff inside
Ah.
me, my mind, but
Ah.
everything you say, I do. The only thing is I'm not confident in my English. So I always thinking I'm not enough to share or something, but I understand more inside than I speak.
Okay, so I'm going to suggest something.
Yeah.
There's different programs we have. Some people want one-to-one coaching, which is exclusive one-to-one and helps you in a very personal way. Those
Yes.
that want to do more, a little bit of that, but more networking, we also have a live coaching program that is a great opportunity. We're going to attach a Facebook community with it. So there'll be a lot of opportunity to share and connect. So again, if you want to reach out to me, I'll tell you more about that.
Will do, Alan. But
Okay.
all I want to say thank you very much today. Yeah.
You're
Have
welcome.
you heard of Toastmasters?
Toastmaster?
Yeah, it's a public speaking group and they're all around the world. And I can give you a resource for that, but it's a great way to practice English in a non-judgmental way and get to know others as well. So
Yeah,
and you can
there's
find
you,
local
Mikey.
clubs that meet locally or in line too. So
there are about 10 Toastmasters in Vancouver. Just look up Toastmasters Vancouver.
Okay.
It's a
I
good
will
place.
do.
It's a good place for you. Yes, any other
Okay.
questions? Any other questions from anybody? Well,
Alan, yeah, my final, yeah, sorry. My question is, now the program you proposed, is it a package from 1 to 9 for all the steps you explained today, or there are some custom programs, or you can select, for example, one of them or two of them, or how? Can you elaborate a little bit?
yeah, great question. The way I do it, it's not about 9 steps in a rigid way. It's personalized to you. So when I work with you, whatever steps we go through, you're implementing them into your life, and you and I are talking about your life and how it applies to it. So the one-to-one is very personalized. To give you an example, there was a financial advisor hired me 10 years ago, wanted more business success. In the second session, he admitted to me that he was having an affair on his wife with another woman. We had to spend 3 sessions to deal with that.
Oh,
So it's very personalized to the individual, but you still go through the 9 steps, which you want to go through because it completes everything. But I personalize it to you. But I recommend, Hisham, the best way, set up a meeting with me. We'll go into more detail to see if this would fit you.
thank you very much.
Okay, guys? Well, thank you so much for coming. You were a great group and hope you enjoyed it. And we'll talk to some of you real soon.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Have a great day, everyone.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
guys.
great.